this is Dietitian. I am a dietitian here working in Canada. I'm really happy to be invited to this workshop today and talk about nutrition for your child. So I think Nick and Shinies have already covered the topic about nutrition concern and the special diet for your child. So I think I'm gonna wrapping up with the workshop by talking lots of strategy and tips for your picky eater. This is a mold of the question I get from the survey, and you guys probably are the most concerned and the most common problem that you guys will be facing, will be dealing with your picky eater or your child at home. So let's get started. We're gonna talk about some strategy, some tips, and help you to work in your family. All right. So here's the 5 common question I get from the survey. The first question is, my child's not wanting to try new food. The second question is, they are being very extremely picky and selective. The third question is, they have no interest in eating. And the number 4 question is, they're refusing to eat any food they have come to a certain texture or certain taste. The number 5th question is vegetable. They are not eating any vegetable at all. What can I do? Before we get into talk about the strategy for picky eating, I'm gonna talk about a concept. It's very important when it comes to feeding. So if the caregiver and the teacher and or the parents be able to understand this concept, it will make the feeding process, the feeding journey, lots more easier. So this concept called divisions of responsibility in feeding is be introduced by a social worker and a dietitian. Her name is Ellen Starter. So if you are not very familiar with this concept, you probably can't Google online for her website or buying her books to read about it. But I want to use this concept to teach you how to fix a problem when it comes to feeding eating. This is the first step that you need to be understand, is that divisions of responsibility in feeding. So this concept basically they talk about lots of different things, but one thing that you need to be understanding is what is your responsibility and what is your child's responsibility. So first thing is parents or the caregiver is to responsible for what to offer and where to eat and what time to feed them. So this is your responsibility, and your child responsibility is how much to eat and whether or not they want to eat the food. Okay, so this is all in being separate. When you make a very clear line in between, so when it comes to feeding, your job is to providing what food, their job is to decide if they want to eat the food or not. So you're not gonna come to a lot of pressure or a lot of stress when it comes to the table. So this is a very important concept. I use it for all my patients when it comes to picky eating. Doesn't matter you come to a different background or different culture or different problem in your health. This is all works for all picky eating. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our 10 tips. So after you understanding the feeding relationship, I'm gonna talk about the first tips is a set schedule for a meal time. So this is a very important. So like I say, you're providing what food, the what. I think the dietitian and the nutritionist already cover what kind of special diet or what kind of food that you should be providing to your child. So you can probably digging into a learning for more of that. But now we're gonna talk about the time and where. So the set schedule, which is more focusing on what time, right? So if we have a very set schedule for the child, so they are knowing that what time they're gonna eat breakfast, what time they're gonna eat lunch, what time they're gonna eat supper. So they're not gonna get very confused, and then when come to eating, or they probably asking for snacking all day long. So you're gonna have a very set schedule, and so the kids can't understanding is, here 8 or 9 o'clock I'm gonna eat my breakfast, by 12 I'm gonna eat my lunch, and then by 5 or 6 o'clock I'm gonna eat my dinner, and then they will have a snack in between. So you will give them a chance to eat the food every couple hours. So you're not gonna starve them, you're not gonna make them hungry, but you give them a chance to eat the food, have a chance to eat and have a chance to have a snack and have a chance to make them feel more satisfied and have the energy or the nutritious. And the next tips is avoid snacking all day long. So because we set this very set schedule for them, they have a mealtime and snack. So you're gonna cut the snacking all day long, because when you allow them to snacking all day long, they're not gonna have an appetite when it comes to eating. They probably come to the front and asking you, hey mom, I'm hungry, can I have a snack? But the snack they're usually asking for is not very healthy. It's usually probably very high in sugar, very high in fat and salt. So this is all they like, right? So they're probably asking for a very unhealthy snack. But like I say, your job is to providing what food to eat. So you're providing the timing, you're providing what food to offer them to eat for the snack. So again, definitely avoiding snacking all day long, because we want to increase their appetite when it comes to the dining, when it comes to eating. Right? So you're cutting down the snacking all day long behavior. So now we got the timing done, the 2 tips, and then now we're gonna talk about where. So when it comes to a special need child, they have lots of sensory problem. Maybe come to the texture problem, maybe come to the taste or the smell, and maybe come to the environment who are surrounding them, because they probably get very anxious and very stressed when it comes to a very unfamiliar space. So for the parents, your job is to providing a very comfortable, a very safe environment for them to enjoy their meal. So you want to make sure they have a really good sitting positions or very good chair in the dining room. And also some kids, they probably very specific for their utensil. So what kind of spoon, what kind of forks they're gonna use, or what kind of plates and what kind of bowl, what kind of color they're gonna using it. So as a parents, your job is to giving them that kind of supply. So they're gonna use the same plate, same bowl, same forks, and or spoon when they come to eating. So they're not gonna have very pressure or very stress, anxious about, oh, I'm using a different thing every time, or I'm going to eat in a different environment. And some kids, they probably want to sit in the same space or same locations, so same directions on the table. So you probably want to be understanding what kind of flavor they are looking for, their preference. And so you're gonna give them a very comfortable environment to eat. And in the next one, you're gonna remove all the distractions. So no distraction. I know it's very struggle. It's very difficult to feeding them. Some kids probably unable to very focusing on eating, or not be able to sit still. And then you probably have to have the teacher or the caregiver to feed the kids. But again, that's probably a special case. But most of the kids, if they are come to table, we try to encourage them not to bring any toys or any electronic device to the table, because they can make them very distracted. And then they'll probably not be able to really focusing on the food. They're probably not gonna focusing on the texture, the color, the presentation of the food. Okay, so try to remove all the distraction as much as you can, so the kids can be really focusing in the environment and their food, enjoy the eating and chewing the food. And the next one is limit the meal time. So like we say, we already talked about the schedule, like you want to schedule a meal time for the day, but you're not gonna let your child to sit on the dining room for more than 1 hour or 2 hours, because that's not gonna help them to eat the food. They're gonna just look at the food, playing the food, and make you more really struggle and upset. So again, you're gonna let the child know, you're gonna have them sitting on the table. Your meal times are only 30 minutes. That's the maximum. So usually 15 to 30 minutes. So the kids will have only spend 30 minutes on the table. They're not gonna take longer to 30 minutes to eat, because in the end, they're probably just playing the food. They're not gonna eat it. They're not gonna eat it. They're not gonna eat it, right? So just set this time, everybody done, and then they can go down the table. Okay. The next tip is food presentations. So the way you present the food will be increasing a lots of chance for the child to accepting the food. So don't overwhelm the child. Don't give them too much portions, and don't give them too much thing at the first helping to try on. So maybe here you're gonna give them a couple small bites, and then something you can cut it into a very small. Something is very fun, creative way to increase their interest when it comes to eating. The next 2 tips it's kind of like more focusing on how do you make your child to eat vegetable. So lots of parents asking, how can I get my child eating vegetable? And how can I get my child to eating this food? How can I get my child to eating that kind of texture? So 2 tips gonna help you to increasing the interest. I'm not gonna 100% guarantee that they're gonna eat it. So like I say, this is not your job. Your job is not forcing them to eat. Your job is to providing, right? So providing the opportunity for them to eat. So the next tip is called rule of 3. So for example, why 3? Because when we presenting a meal, we try to incorporate like 3 kind of food group in one meal. So for example, you're gonna give them a grain product, which is like your rice, and then the protein group can be eggs, can be chickens, can be fish, and then the next one will be the vegetable. This is most parents concerned about the vegetable because the kids not gonna eat the vegetable. But because the parents so worried about their kids not gonna eat the vegetable and then they're gonna get hungry, and then that's why you're gonna give them a chance to eat the rice and the meat, and then you're still presenting something new to them, which is the vegetable. So for example, they never like broccoli, but today you make a very, very special recipe, which is like broccoli salad, or maybe just a raw broccoli, or maybe just a stir-fry broccoli, not too much of texture, and then so you present it on the plate is 3rd, right? So that will be the first one is the rice, and then chicken, and then the vegetable. Like I said, not gonna overwhelm them, but you present it as a very, very fun way and very creative way on the plate, and the kids gonna eat the rice, probably gonna eat the chicken, but they're probably not gonna touch the broccoli even at all. So this is give the child a little bit time to get used to have the vegetable, present that on their plate, because lots of kids, they're probably very restricted. They say, no, the vegetable not gonna touch my plate at all. So depend, every kids they have their own preference. You maybe want to have the kids to have the vegetable on the separate plate, but you still present them with 3 different kind of food, right? So at least the kids will eat something. They're not gonna go without eating, right? So they're gonna have something to eat, but they will have something they are very unfamiliar with, but you want to present it to them and increase their interest, right? So that will be one thing that you can do, always presenting something new, always presenting something is they already very familiar, they have been eating for a long time, they love it, so then you can just kind of do that half-half. And then the next one, my tips is to bring the kids out, involve the kids. You want to involve the kids into cooking, in the kitchens, in the grocery shopping, so that you can bring a lot of opportunity, a lot of way for the kids to knowing where the vegetable coming from, where the fruit coming from. So for example, my favorite way is to bring the kids to a farm, and then so they can know, oh, here's the vegetable, here's the lettuce, here's a carrot, how they coming out from the soil, and here's a fruit, they are from the strawberry, so you can do something like that, so the kids can know here's the fruit, they are not toxic, they are safe to eat, and so they can involve that kind of process, the process of knowing where they're coming from. And the next thing is to bring them to the supermarket. If you're not be able to access to any farm, you'll be able to bring them to a farmer market, or maybe a morning market, or maybe a supermarket, to bring them to that environment, so they will have a chance to know here is the people selling that vegetable. So you can ask them, invite them to pick a fruit or pick a veggies for you. You don't have to have them to eat it. So the first thing is to teach them, introducing the way they know about vegetable. So you involve them, and then the next thing the next kind of step that you can do is to involve them into a kitchen. So I'm not sure about the school, you guys probably will have some cooking class, so you can let the kids to cook some vegetable, cook some baking stuff, thing like that, so the kids can involve in the kitchens and handling some of the fruit and vegetable way, washing the vegetable, cutting the vegetable, that kind of way, or method that they will help the kids to knowing the vegetable and increase the interest when it comes to eating, right? They don't have to eat it, it's okay. And like I say, no pressure. So even though you guys prepare the meal together and cook it, bake it, and take it out, the kids still not gonna touch it. But they are done all the previous way. They have helping you to wash and cut it and put it into the microwave or maybe the ovens and do it. But again, they're not gonna eat it. That's okay. That's their job. Like I say, you're not gonna force them. Their job is to decide it. They want to eat it. or not. And so the last two tips I'm gonna talk about is the rewarding the positive behavior. The rewarding is not gonna relate it to any food at all. So the rewarding is not like you are gonna eat your dinner tonight, I'm gonna give you ice cream. No, it's not related to any food, using the food as a rewarding. So what we're gonna do is to rewarding the kids, give them a lot of positive encouragements. So for example, your kids is starting to trying some new food that you prepare, or they're starting to trying to get into a kitchen to help you to cut the vegetable. So as a parent or a caregiver, you guys might want to give them a lots of good positive word, positive encouragement, and say, hey, you did a good job today, I'm very proud of you. But you're not going to use the food as a reward. The next one is opposite, is a negative behavior. So you're gonna ignore, you're not gonna encourage for that. So the negative behavior is more kind of like when the kids try something and then they spit it out, or maybe they're throwing away, they are they making a very they cry, probably they cry on the table, they making a very upset thing, and they're not gonna eat anything that you provide, and probably they say something bad. So as a parent, you're not gonna have a very big reaction when you see that kind of behavior, because the kids, when they see that kind of reaction from their parents, they're gonna react that again for next meal, because they know that you are paying attention on their behavior. So what you're gonna do is just try to ignore it and try to not promote that kind of behavior again for next time. So I know it's very struggle, it's very difficult when dealing with that kind of behavior when it comes to eating, because you see your kids is playing the food, throwing away, crying, and being very upset about because then you're not gonna cook the thing that they liked. But this is very common to see in special need child. So again, I think the parents have to take it as a responsibility to teach the child this is not very acceptable in our table. So I'm not gonna do anything, and this is what I'm gonna do. This is what the food I presented to you. You can decide if you're gonna eat it or not, or you can decide to just leave it and then you're gonna go to bed hungry, or you're gonna wait until the next meal, the next 2 or 3 hours for your snack time to eat again, or probably wait until the next meal time. Okay? Alright, this is all I have today for the strategy for picky eating. So if you do have a lots of questions and would like to get into more detail about how to practice that strategy, and definitely give us a email, or maybe write down your questions, and so that we can contact you later. So I hope you learned something today. You have a good day. Bye-bye.